Good morning, spiritual companions. Today we are reading God, the Substance of All Form by Joel S. Goldsmith. Continuing Chapter 11, States and Stages of Consciousness. Gratitude. How do we love an individual? We must understand individuality as God. Understand that God is individual being, the only individuality there is. But that individuality appears infinitely, and it appears as individual you and individual me. Therefore, in honoring or respecting the individual, we are worshiping God. That is why I said that the first duty of the disciple or student is that of gratitude. Gratitude must be expressed tangibly, and it cannot be expressed tangibly in the abstract. Therefore, it must be expressed to an individual. Only in expressing gratitude to an individual are you expressing gratitude to the individuality of God in one of its forms. You are recognizing God as the source of that for which you are grateful. Never should we receive money or give out money. Never should we take food or drink without that moment's recognition of gratitude to the infinite source, which is also the infinite source of our own being. To do that, but to fail to be equally grateful to the individual through whom the good comes, would be an attempt to be grateful in the abstract. It would be holding our head in the clouds without keeping our feet on the ground. There are many ways or forms of expressing gratitude to an individual. One form, of course, is with money. Another is through recognition. Let us recognize the part that each of us plays in the other person's life, and be willing to let our gratitude flow out to that individual in some tangible form. It may be in the form of service, it may be in the form of the spoken word, or it may be in the form of money. Whatever form it takes, it must come out, it must be expressed, and it must be expressed to an individual in order for it to be expressed to God, since God is appearing to us as the individual. Omar Khayyam saw rightly when he said, "Heaven is a vision of fulfilled desire, and you and I are in heaven the very moment we begin to feel that we are living the life that we were meant to live, and we know when that is by the feeling of rightness that is in our lives. There is no real joy in doing work that we do not like. But when we love our work, we cannot wait to get at it. In that sense of rightness, we find our heaven, our harmony." Omar Khayyam had the same vision when he wrote, "A loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and thou." In that simple experience of human companionship, in that fulfillment of the physical need of food and drink, he saw a sense of happiness, a sense of peace and contentment. This vision was mystical, not sensual any more than the Song of Solomon is sensual. It is a spiritual thing, translated into the everyday language of human experience. Take away that everyday human experience, and how would you experience that transcendental thing called happiness or peace of mind? No, it is in this everyday life of ours, in just the simple little things of courtesy, kindness, appreciation, gratitude, helpfulness, cooperativeness, that we ultimately find our spiritual peace, our spiritual contentment, our spiritual harmony. Only in these little commonplace human things, in these human relationships, will we ultimately find our spiritual peace and the divinity of our being. Attaining spiritual consciousness. We must take the mystery out of the real man and the real universe and come to the realization that this is heaven right here and now. If we are not finding heaven here, it is not because there is some other world we must find, or that there is some other man that we must become. It is only that we must relax our humanhood, divest ourselves of human fears, worries, and doubts. But that cannot be done through willpower. There is only one way in which we can lose our human or mortal sense of existence, and that is by becoming consciously aware of a presence which we know and understand to be God. We come into that consciousness through our receptivity, through our meditation, and through our pondering the truths of Scripture or spiritual literature. It is not done merely by affirming and denying until some truth has been memorized and rooted in the human mind. It is done by pondering softly and gently and peacefully these spiritual truths until they really are absorbed, so that they actually become a part of our consciousness. In this way, we gain the conviction of the presence of God. We actually experience and feel that presence, and with that, we lose all false human sense, all negative human sense, and we find ourselves in what the world may look upon as a good state of humanhood, but which really is not that at all. It is the divinity of our own being made manifest. That divinity of our being still shows forth as individual you and individual me. The Word becomes flesh and dwells among us, and that Word is made flesh as you and as me. You can see why we do not try to destroy or even to still the human mind. Our effort is in the direction of becoming aware of spiritual truth. We try to gain the consciousness of peace, and then the human mind becomes that which it was originally intended to be, a vehicle for our wisdom and knowledge. In the same way, our bodies do not disappear through attainment of spiritual consciousness, but they become that which they also were intended to be, the vehicle of our individual expression. From Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Now try to realize this, that before conception, there must have been a consciousness to do the conceiving. There must have been a consciousness to form your very body. As parents, you know you could not do this for your own children, even though you were the vehicle through which it was done. A consciousness formed that which you are. It could have been only God consciousness. and it formed you in its mold, maintained you and sustained you in its care. The only thing that has happened throughout the years that have elapsed is that you have taken over the job yourself and have forgotten that which formed you as an individual being, that which gave you form and body, or that which appears to the world as creation, was a state of consciousness performing the function of an eternal plan. Therefore, that which it formed is spiritual man. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. This consciousness which formed you as a spiritual entity, as a prophet or a perfect state of consciousness. Say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. Jeremiah 1:7. In other words, there is always this infinite, eternal, immortal, spiritual consciousness to speak as you, to act as you, to perform as you. The only thing that has happened is that we have separated ourselves from it and have taken over the job, just as the prodigal son attempted to do. But through this teaching, we are returning to the Father consciousness and are beginning to realize, why, I am that prophet. I am that perfect spiritual seer. End of chapter. End of today's reading.